I guess since the meeting is being recorded, that is the signal for us to get going. I'm Glenn Housman. I want to thank everybody for being here today, joining us, because these folks that we're going to be talking today, we're going to do a little bit differently than we did yesterday. We're going to have a little one-on-one conversations where I speak to each of these disruptive people, these incredible disruptive individuals bringing great products to the hospitality industry. Why do I keep saying that they're so disruptive? Because they were part of the Truly Disruptive Awards. And I got to tell you, the stuff that they are doing is innovative. It's different. It's going to help all of you out there make more money, create guest loyalty, and do all the things that we as hoteliers find so absolutely critically important. So let's get on with it today. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to put that into the chat box, and we'll get to that as soon as we possibly can. All right, so as I said, we're going to be doing a series of one-on-one conversations followed by a little group talk. But let me introduce everybody to get us started. We've got with us Elle Rustique. She is the CEO and founder of Tip Brightly. Then we have Mr. Yanni Deros. He's the CEO of Cirque Plus, and Faustino Fernandez, founder and CEO of Stay My Way. And no, he's not shy. He's just having a little bit of a camera issue. So hopefully the camera gods will work in our favor and we'll get to see him in person. But if not, we're going to still have a great chance with him anyway. All right, so let's get into it. Let's start with Elle. I'm really curious to hear all about what you're doing over there at Tip Brightly. Great idea at the right time. One of those things I started to hear a little bit about before the coronavirus started, but right now, it seems like the perfect opportunity for you. Maybe you can start by sharing us a little bit about who you are, what you do, and why it's such an interesting product.
Yeah, thank you, Glenn. So I'm happy to be here, and thank you, In Effect Show, for both the award opportunity and also, just segueing to this onto stage here. So we did do a product presentation, Glenn, and everyone yesterday. So if you're interested in learning specifically about the product, you can find that on the agenda. So I'm just going to talk with kind of high level about, sort of the problem that we're solving and why personally I wanted to solve it. So Tip Brightly is an early stage fintech and impact startup. We are based in Silicon Valley, and the problem we're trying to solve is actually have three dimensions to it. I mean, the first is a situation that I'm sure all of you have been in, which is, what do you do when you want to leave a tip, but you don't have cash?
Right, I've been there before. Or not to interrupt you, but sometimes you only have like a $20 bill and you stay there one night and maybe you're not going to give that much of a tip. So you still feel like you have no cash.
Exactly. Or you have change, right? So it's often
worse. Yeah.
You end up not leaving either because you don't want to give up your 20 and you don't want to also insult through change. So, we've all been there, and we are transitioning to this cashless society. And now it is, and we never imagined a more contactless world, right, with COVID. And 54% of Americans, I read, are wary of touching cash. So, but it's not just a problem of inconvenience, feeling embarrassed or awkwardness. It's really about the impact of not being able to leave the tip. And so it's a problem for employees and their employers. So for employees, tipped employees who rely on cash-based income, which is variable, to not receive this tip is really having a direct impact, on their earnings. And you can imagine, being that employee, whether you're a valet or housekeeper, and we're talking specifically about, hotels, not restaurants.
Right.
The impact that has on your morale and your motivation. So this in turn is a problem for the employers, right? Because they're now seeing their employees' morale go down, their motivation, and that affects service quality. And so that is already happening before the pandemic, and now we're all seeing just all kinds of unintended consequences from COVID, and one of them has to do with the impact on employees and the shortages. So now with our customers, that they're increasingly coming to us, not just to solve this cashless problem, but as a way to attract and retain employees. So tip rightly is really like a win-win-win solution. And it is really easy and simple to use. I'll stop there. Do you want to, I can go into how it works if that makes sense.
That was actually gonna be my leadoff question for you, Elle. So
Okay.
tell me, Elle, how does this work? How are you making it happen? How are you simplifying it so much that people are gonna be like, I'm just gonna use this. I'm gonna tip this way. I'm changing my habits.
Super simple. So, I was in this situation, right? Just to go back of wanting to leave a tip, and the only thing I had in my hand was a phone.
Mhm.
And, it occurred to me that here I could do these other financial transactions. I could send money, I could pay bills.
Right.
Why couldn't I leave a simple, cash here? And that's really what sparked it, is how do we enable our phones to leave a tip. And so Tip Rightly is a mobile payments platform. It's an integrated solution for not only digital tipping, but also leaving feedback, and then for those two to interact to create analytics. And I hadn't planned on this, but I can simply share with
Oh,
you
yeah.
just how it looks. And I'm taking you straight to our website.
I love it. That looks great.
So this is our landing page. And for those of you who have a phone and aren't sitting on a desktop, if you take your phone and you launch the camera and you point it at that QR code, I'll give you all a minute to do that.
Oh, so we can
You
actually
too,
do that
Glenn.
right now. I'm doing it. I'm going to totally do this. All right.
All
You caught me
right.
off guard. I was not prepared for this,
Come
but
on,
now
this is live demo. This is
I am.
live.
All right. So I'm doing it.
You're launching it, right?
Web page. Tap here to go to web page. Got a little launch happening right now on my phone. Loading, loading. Boom. There it is. Isabella, how much would you like to send? And it suggests I send $5, which seems appropriate and reasonable for the one night stay I just had.
Right. And so that's exactly how you use it. It's just a simple mobile payments platform and payment, and it works through your phone, and there's no mobile app download required. So, these are the folks that we're helping. There's Isabella, you noticed, and across the industry, not just hotels. If you go to our website, you can read all about it. You scan the QR code, you enter your tip, and you leave the feedback. The guest does that. And what makes us different is not only just do we make it simple, but it is not just a peer-to-peer app. It's actually a system, a solution for the whole business. As I said, it's an employee appreciation, along with the business analytics that are emerging through the transactions. So I'll flip back. It's just more than tipping. Let me go back to my.
So let me ask you a question. Number one, I love this idea because it's removing friction. You said you don't have to download an app. If I had to download an app, I would think that even if I had best intentions, I'm going to be late for this flight, I got to go to this meeting, whatever, it might not happen. But by stripping it down to its essentials, I think that really makes it work. But you also mentioned data and analytics. What
Yeah.
beyond creating that engagement with their employees does this do for them when it comes to any analytics that you provide?
So, if you think about the tip, right, in the transaction, it is an interaction between a guest and an employee. And so that amount is an indication of, its earnings. So that's one data point that that before was never known before, right? Is just what the earnings are coming out. So data around that, that's transactional analytics. That the feedback is real time and it's instant. So it's sent directly to the employee and to the employer at the same time. And so now they're getting data and analytics around, performance. So, this is uncharted territory, and we're starting to see this raw data come up. And you can imagine, what an employer or hotel can do to see patterns in the kind of feedback that comes through. And
That's
then
fascinating. Elle, let me just jump in because I'm thinking, you have comment cards. Nobody's going to fill those out.
right.
But if I had an issue in my room and I had the opportunity to feedback right there on my phone, I might actually take the time to do that while I'm waiting for the elevator,
Exactly.
So, right. So you get more information. Fascinating.
Yeah, and it's also, I mean, I mentioned this, it's also, the guests are also leaving a positive feedback because it's a tip. So if you're leaving a tip, you're clearly satisfied or happy. And so they're saying what worked well, what they
Right.
liked. And
Mhm.
typically that post survey is, well, what went wrong? I mean, it just changes, the dynamic, I
It'll
think.
be
And
great to be able to say, hey, Isabella did a great job. I really liked how she did X, Y, Z or something like that. Thanks for taking extra special care of me with your upgraded cleaning considerations. That sort of a thing.
yeah, and then one last thing is, you think about a hospitality group, or that has multiple hotels, same brand perhaps, and you're seeing different things happen with the tips and the earnings and the
Right.
feedback. You'll have data. It's like sort of like sports. We always knew who the best player was, but we didn't
Right.
really have the data, and now we're seeing that.
Right.
It's exciting, yeah, and you can see the impact on earnings, and retention. So that's emerging. We're new, but it's coming through. It's very, very exciting.
When did you launch?
So I've been at this for a while, and we started with barcode readers and mobile apps. And about 2017, we launched, and then we rebranded. So it's just like a startup. You go
Yeah,
through
I know
all
exactly.
kinds of things,
Yep.
and then the pandemic hit. So I would say we're really hitting our stride now. It's almost feels like a rebirth.
Funny you
Yeah.
should say that, because this week is the 5th anniversary of my No Vacancy podcast. Now you guys can watch it No Vacancy live every day at noon Eastern time, Monday through Thursday. But yeah, I mean, the first couple of years I was doing my thing, nobody really got it, and it really took a while to cut through. So I'm so glad that you were able to make it to the point where now we have that aha moment, and everybody knows that they need to work with you over at Tip Brightly. Elle, thanks so much.
Thank
We're going to
you.
switch over to Yanni, talk to him for a little bit. Then we're going to head over and talk to Faustino before having a few minutes of Q&A at the end. Yanni, so great to see you, my friend.
Good to
Great.
see you.
I
Always a
can't.
pleasure, Glenn.
Yeah, man, this is great. So I love Yanni's product over at Circ Plus. I was honored enough to be part of the launch of that back in September, and I got to see this thing in real life. Yanni, what a cool concept you have for folks that may not already understand what it is. Why don't you share with us real quick what's
Sure.
going on behind you and why it's so important?
Sure. Well, first of all, I want to thank the InnoFact team and organization for awarding us a Disruptive Innovation Award. That's what we built the Circ Plus around. Originally, we had our smart room system that can be retrofitted into any hotel room in 60 minutes or less and create a smart room. So we help save energy, enhance the guest experience, and future-proof the property. So you really can be prepared for the future. So along the way, COVID showed its ugly face to the world and really
Let me put this in there.
crushed our industry.
Yeah.
And we were faced with the challenge. We
Right.
either sit back and ride it out, put things on hold, or step up and do something. And
Right.
I'm proud of what our team did.
Right, because Yanni, you were really up against the wall here, because here you have this product that could be perceived as something you don't need to go ahead with when your profitability goes away, right? But
Absolutely.
then, you're up against the ropes, and boom, you had this epiphany to create something wholly new that not only helps your existing product line, but brings in a whole new world of opportunity for you and your company, and more importantly, hotel owners and their guests.
Absolutely. And your show, you and Anthony were sort of an inspiration to this, if you remember, because on the early days of COVID, we were on a podcast and talking about how the goal guest experience was going to go touchless, contactless, remember?
Right.
And then Anthony was sharing the stories about how more housekeeping had passed away in New York City than all of TSA combined in the country. And that really hit home. And that motivated us because we just saw nobody was protecting anybody on the staff.
Right.
And we needed to give a reason for people to come back and start traveling again. And through really, our research process, our team, we locked ourselves down in a hotel at the Arizona Grand here for 2 months straight, and we came out with CBOT. We literally developed that from the ground up in 2 months.
So fascinating how you were able to do that. So what does CBOT exactly do, and why is it so effective?
I'll let her take a tour for the room here.
I love
So,
that.
so this is what CBOT does because we control the room environment.
Right.
When the guest checks out, now we can enable CBOT to go through the space and actually disinfect the space without any manual labor. And before anybody jumps to the fact, well, you're taking jobs away. No, remember, we built this to protect people, especially.
Yanni, it's not like there anybody working in hotels
Oh,
these days. There's no staff available, so
yeah,
you're saving hotels the pain of having to deal with the labor
absolutely.
crisis.
Oh,
Yeah,
they're going through the
yeah,
bathroom. Electrostatically covers all the surfaces,
Right.
countertops, everything.
I
Uh,
just want to know how you do that, Yanni.
pretty cool, right?
it's all in
Wow.
the technology. It's mapped itself. I mean, we map it, and once we set that routine up, it follows the same routine. So it'll never call in sick, it'll never make excuses, and it'll always do its job. So now
But is it going to unionize? I'm a little worried about
well,
that as a hotelier in New York, for example.
I'm sure robotics. We know what robotics is vision in the future. So there's probably a
Hey,
union
listen,
somewhere.
I saw Terminator. I know exactly what's going to happen next.
Yeah.
But Yanni, this is really cool because of what you were saying. You set out the path for it. So it
Mhm.
always does exactly the same thing, which is a
Yep.
great guarantee, but it only takes a couple of minutes, right? So it's not
Yeah.
just when guests leave, it's for when anyone comes into the room, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is a suite in the area. It's about 1,000 square feet, and it's completely disinfected and treated in under 3 minutes
Wow.
in that entire time. And you can see here we're actually
8 minutes.
getting the light switches and the door handles pinpoint accuracy in there. It gets over the thresholds, and now it's again treating all the space. So.
Wow. So, how do you make sure that it covers all the places that you need to cover? You said electrostatic, so that works by having the mist get it specifically attracted to stuff because of the way that it's created.
It's charged when the list is atom. The mist, the disinfectant is atomized and comes out the spray head. It's charged, so it creates a negative charge and attracts to the other surfaces out there. So,
Right.
and it's disinfectant agnostic. So as long as it's compatible with electrostatic sprayers, they can use it in our system. So we can map. We literally do demos now, and we can map a hotel room, 1,000 square foot hotel room, in about 5 minutes and program
Wow.
it in that time
Wow.
frame. And once it's set, then when someone checks in, or I mean checks out, then it'll disinfect the room before housekeeping goes in. And really, the nice part of the solution that we're seeing a huge need for is after the housekeeping goes through, it's the final
That's right.
layer of protection so that now that little tag means something that's on the outside of the door. There's nothing really with a tag. Anybody can put a tag, unfortunately,
Mhm.
and we all heard stories. But the fact that that tag now coupled with a technology that a guest can open up an app and say your room was treated with CBOT at this time with this disinfectant this long ago, and nobody has entered the room because we have door sensors on it. It brings the whole future together in one
Right.
platform.
Right. I love that. And I know we've been focusing on guest rooms, but we're talking a lot about meetings coming back right now,
Mhm.
and they may need that extra level of confidence. This works in public spaces as well, Yanni?
Absolutely. So now you can put this in restaurants, in the cafes, in the bars, in open areas, and if there's a lull between some areas, then you can send CBOT out to actually spray and treat the areas again, redirecting your labor, which there's a shortage, to do other things that will help with and keeping up the services and the quality of the hotel. Let
Right.
the machines do the machine work and let the people focus on the service. That's what hospitality is about. And we are positioning ourselves to be the leaders in that in the future.
That is excellent. You've also been, this is not just in hotels. I know this is a hotel show, but you're also talking to a lot of schools and other types of public places. So this is a solution that really has the opportunity to be everywhere and create a sense that guests will expect something like this because they see it in other avenues of their lives as well.
They are. I mean, education, let the teachers focus on learning and less on cleaning, hospitals with the hospital-acquired infections,
Right.
putting a frontline solution into offices to give people confidence that they can come back and have a system that's protecting them around the clock. So we did this initially based on protecting our market and our dear customers, which is hospitality. But in the meantime, we've discovered we can apply our solution to pretty much any commercial space out there. And we literally have tens of thousands of these units in the pipeline right now.
How are customers starting to respond to this?
It's incredible. We're actually found a great niche with service, janitorial, and maintenance companies because
cool.
they really see this as the robotics is the future. The research that we do, Glenn, we've shown specifically that 74% of people, when they go to book a hotel room, will pick the hotel that has the Cirque CBOT in it over a hotel that doesn't. And
Right.
they can charge anywhere from 5 to 15 to 20% more premium for that room because of the technology that's in there.
Wow.
So anybody wants to learn all of this information, happy to share it. But we're here first and foremost to help the hospitality world get out there. And the beauty of the system is that we offer no money down, 6 months of deferred payments, and up to $2 million per property for improvements. And so that's a way for the properties to keep their capital, use it in other places, and we have an affordable solution out there.
Beautiful. Excellent. So be sure to contact Elle, be sure to contact Yanni. And I know after I talk to Faustino, you're going to want to contact him as well. Faustino Fernandez, you are the founder and CEO of Stay My Way. Welcome. How are you today, sir?
Yeah, thank you. Well, first of all, thanks for the introduction. Truly, I'm not shy, but I had this problem with the camera, and I truly apologize for not being able to repair it.
No, Faustino,
And-
we believe you completely. Not shy at all. Whatever you say, sir.
Oh, but you don't miss much, by the way. So this want to thank you also the guys from Innovac to award us with this important award for us. As I said before, and Stay My Way is a startup that started a long time ago, 8 years ago. We had a vision of why not digitalize door locks from hotels. Why don't make people to be able to open their rooms with their phones, not going through check-ins or any other procedures, and why not? So we had this dream, and we start working myself with a couple of colleagues, and suddenly we start building the idea. And it was hard work at the beginning because it was something really disruptive in the market. No one ever thought that was going to happen. And little by little, we started to integrate and develop our solution, which is compatible with 95% of all the existing locks in the market, which is something really that, first of all, helps a lot the hotel companies to save a lot of money on locks, because, as you know, the estimated period of life for a lock is around 10 years. Mm-hmm. And the truth is that in the last years, the world is going more and more digital. So analogic things are starting to be old-fashioned and really completely out of date. And also with COVID, and has pushed this a lot. I truly agree with my two colleagues about what happened in COVID. I think that it was a bad luck, of course, but also a good chance to prove where quality and talent was made. Most of the companies were made of good quality and talent. I've met a lot of working colleagues or some of the company colleagues that they were completely discouraged by the fact that the lockdown put us all in a very, very difficult situation, not only in terms of commercially, but also financially, Right. So I think that most of great talent people, they push hard and they find out new ways of facing a new reality, which is today's reality. And I think that those companies who got that attitude are actually bringing up these beautiful technologies that we're seeing here from Gianni and from Elle, which I believe are part of the future of the industry and the present right now. So I think that the hotellery industry in general is in a process of digitalization that is being pushed by the recent COVID, but at the same time, because it was in a roadmap of becoming to the digital world. So I said, when we had a dream like 8 years ago, like making this possible today, it's possible. We are present in globally. So we are now onboarding a lot of hotels from different continents, because the technology is very simple, it's easy to install, easy to run. So it's really a good time. And again, thank you for the prize.
Yeah, so I've got a little story, Faustino, that shows me personally how awesome your product is for a guy like me. So about 5 years ago, let's say 4 years ago, I'm getting older now, so everything I think is 2 years ago is like 8 years ago, right? So let's say 4 years ago or so. I took an overnight flight to London because I was doing some content for a service department company, and they were going to be putting me in a hotel. I'm in one of their apartments while going, to go to an event that we were going to be doing. So I was just staying there. I show up at like 10 in the morning, fresh off an overnight flight. I'm completely exhausted. I roll up to where my apartment is. The key that was supposed to be left for me wasn't left for me. There I am outside, a customer, right, who can't get into their apartment to go and nap from being exhausted from flying overnight, who has to then go and perform at a conference and do these kind of interviews all day long. So it was a real barrier to me enjoying the overall experience. How I wish I had the opportunity when staying in a service department or an other type of rental type of accommodation to have had this technology where I could just either push a couple of buttons on the door or had the phone to let me in. And of course, when I walk in there, I want to make sure I see one of Yanni's robots, make sure it was all clean. And at the end of it all, I'm going to pull up L's product and tip everybody out. But that's why I really like these problems, because they're meeting the real needs that we have as individuals. And don't get me started, Faustino, because the same thing happened to me and my friends when we were in Barcelona. We had to get the key by 5 p.m. local time, or else we were going to be out on the street all night, right? So interesting product. Where did the inspiration for this disruptive idea come from, Faustino?
It came from a group of people, some colleagues that we were thinking about. Many of the uses that a phone could have. Because one of the founders or co-founders of the company is an expert on hardware, we got to the point to see this could be a really good idea to be able to use the phone also to open your door and many other things, not only open your doors, but also doing a check-in. So our technology, for example, when you do the check-in, is a biometric check-in, checks if the passport, ID, drive license is real. It also compares your real picture with a selfie you may have to do with your passport or ID picture and confirms the identity of the person, which means that you can remotely check in someone, check in his signature, his picture, his drive license or passport, and agree that this person is qualified to go. Plus to that, we have developed a new feature, which is that in front of the door, before opening the door, you take a selfie again, and the system checks that you are the person who made a check-in and then opens the door. So there's no way that any kind of a security issue. So when we were dreaming about that, it was a long time ago, and the technology at that time wasn't that easy. I think that also digitalization, it's moving on with the good times and the new times. So new software solutions, new tools are coming to the market that makes more easy to do those things. Now, one of the things that Elle was showing is the QR code. We also have a QR code we send by email. The guest gets there, checks as you did with your phone on the screen, and then you download your key right away, with all the security that is you, because you're going to do the check-in afterwards. So right. I think that we are in the digitalization area, and a lot of things will change.
All right, fascinating. Elle, what did you want to add in
there?
there?
I mean, I wanted to say this earlier, so I'm glad you asked the question about inspiration. So my story is personal. My mission is personal.
Awesome.
And my mother was a hotel housekeeper.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And, growing up, I always knew that tips mattered. And I always knew when she earned a tip, because she would take my brother, my sister, and me out for treats. So, you know, 99% of women are housekeepers are women. And so it's not just about, you know, there's that whole social impact about it, that this is a problem. Cashlessness and not losing the opportunity for earnings disproportionately affects women. And that I really wanted to set out to help solve this problem for women like my mother.
Right. Wow, that's beautiful. I love that inspiration. It's so meaningful. And thanks for putting it in such human terms, because a lot of times we don't think about that. But when you leave a tip for housekeeping,
Yeah.
really improving people's lives. I bet you have a lot of special memories from those days that you used to go out and get that ice cream or those treats and stuff like that because someone was generous and had compassion for the hard work that your mom did.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, Yanni, we already heard your story of where the inspiration came from, but you know, what message do you want to tell hoteliers out there in terms of what they should really be thinking about in creating better relations with their potential customer base?
Well, I wanted just to share a little bit
Please.
before I go into that.
Yep.
When obviously it hit the industry, our motivation was to help the industry, and it came full circle when we went out to Vegas shortly after we launched, and we had a room full of people reviewing our system at the MGM, and meeting after meeting, we were meeting with the head of housekeeping and environmental services, and the housekeepers and the leads there broke down emotionally
Right.
because nobody was addressing and protecting them. And that was the validation that we needed, because the fact that what we thought was going to happen was happening and we had a solution for it. So we're here to help protect people and to reopen the doors. But ultimately, you know, we've been preaching technology, technology, technology when we launched Cirque.
Right.
The unfortunate circumstances of COVID is really showcasing properties need to get to profitability faster. And how do you do that? You don't let the lights on all the time when a room's empty. You don't let the HVAC at 65 when it's empty. I
Mhm.
mean, all of these standard principles of operation have to change. The whole industry has to reinvent themselves. And on top of that, with the smart tech, we have the clean tech, which is going to protect against the next one. Because if you look at H1N1 and SARS and now COVID, the time frames are compressing,
That's
and
right.
nobody knows the variants that are out there and all this. So we spent the last 16 months being reactive, so we can all think we have short-term memory, but the ones that are going to stay ahead and not experience the same effects are going to be the ones that are reactive now and are being proactive for the future. And we're here to help out. So.
Right. And, you know, the SARS seems to be coming back a little bit right now. So these are real world things that are
Mhm.
happening right now. Faustino, you know, you'd mentioned that safety and security issue. I think when you're talking about the hotel side of it, it's probably a really good tool to really understand who's going in and out of those rooms as well. Is that something you guys are able to accomplish?
Can you say it again? Sorry.
Are you able to focus on who's going in and out of the rooms and using those locks so you know if housekeeping has been in there or if somebody who shouldn't be in the room is in the room?
Yeah, definitely. Our system tracks all the openings and also can have a special time or allow, for example, a lock not to open in 2 hours, 3 hours after operation took place. Yeah, definitely. Just to add that we are not only on for hotels, but we also do have locks for these service apartments. And during this period of COVID, we had several requests on that we can program the keys to be opening or be able to open, can be activated like 2 hours before check-in or 3 hours before checkout. So we can plan that the service apartment or the hotel room would not be able to be entered not until the 2 or 3 period hour that some people implemented some of those protocols, and it was very useful.
Elle?
Yeah, I just also wanted to mention that we're not just in hotels. I mean, the cashlessness problem is affecting all sectors. So we actually just closed a deal this morning with an autotainment company, and They have
That's cool.
drivers all across the nation
Oh,
that
makes
are
sense.
seeking to find a solution so that they can receive tips. So, you know, I know InEffect focuses on hospitality and entertainment, so we just bridged both of those sectors today.
Wow.
I just want to say too that I love the opportunity here, you know, from Yanni and from Faustino. And you know what occurred to me is they have, you know, our platform is simple. You know, everyone has mobile payments technology and they've got hard technology, but the thing that brings us all together is the human that's behind it, the human that we're helping, the human that we're protecting. And you know, that's I think unique to like hospitality at the end of the day, is that it's that experience, whether it's the employees or the guests, that really drive us.
Great. So the last few minutes that we have here, everybody, if you have some questions that you would like to ask our great panel of disrupting innovators, let us know, which would be great. So what do you guys think is next? Do you think the hotel companies are actually going to become more tech forward at this point? Because our beautiful business has been known for not really being up on technology. Now's the time for them to break that cycle. Now's the time for them to move forward. Yanni, are you sensing that hoteliers are ready to crack and to plunge into the world of technology in a more meaningful way than ever before?
I certainly hope so. I mean, there's the writings on the wall, and the contactless is here to stay. So, you know, you have to enable it with technology, and you got to go a little bit more than a sticker on the door to protect people and give them confidence again to get back out there. So.
Yep. Yeah. And speaking about that, that whole technology thing and what you just said, I fundamentally believe that all of these products and services have nothing to do with COVID, essentially. Yanni, you got the idea because of COVID, but these are all practical, important things that we're already thinking about. You know, L's product's been around way before that. Faustino was thinking about this way before that. All COVID did was accelerate these trends and shrink the timeline. In fact, you know, my author, you know, Sean Worker, who I work with over here, he says there's been 10 years of innovation and change in just the last 10 months. So think about that. If you're a hotel owner, you need to get out there and you need to make sure you have the products and services that best relate to how people are doing it today. All of these things are the way your customers are going to want to interact with your hotels, your brands, your companies in the future. So it's absolutely essential that you get ahead of the game now, because if you don't, your competition will. All right. I see we don't have any questions. Last chance for you guys out there to answer questions before we start to move towards wrapping up today.
Okay, I would like to say something.
Yes, Faustino, go for it, sir.
Yeah, again, thank you for the opportunity. But regarding the last words you said,
Yes, sir.
I think that the most important thing that the hotel owners needs to keep in mind is that the customer experience is one of the most important missions that they have. And me, myself, I guess that it may be the same with you guys. Now, when you go now away and you travel and you want to get in a hotel, you are really worried about many things because you still are somehow scared about the chances that can be infected or not. So a lot of people is now thinking on their security, and they're now thinking on keep a relative, decent social distance. No, if you need to interact with somebody, you need to do it. But if not, the fact of getting into a property, a room, and see a picture of this fantastic robot saying this technology is taking care of your health, or seeing an announcement like Ellie said, like, okay, we take care of our people, please take that into account, or the fact of going through the room and not have to interact with anybody is a plus on customer experience. This is what they need to think about. Obviously, this is not good time for investments because the hotelier industry also suffer a lot, but at the same time, these new opportunities are also saving a lot of money too. So not on jobs, as Gianni said before. No, not only about the jobs. It's also about the costs, because when you issue keys, for example, plastic keys, they have a cost. And if you issue them digitally, you can issue as many as you want, and it has no really tangible cost. It also has a cost, but very, very small compared to that. So I think it's a good opportunity to move also with the economical opportunity that this time has. And the digitalization of many products will be an economical opportunity too. So it comes in the right time.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Faustina, why don't you kick us off with some final thoughts?
Sorry?
Anything else that you want to add before we wrap up today? You know, final thought there besides
Well,
that?
it could take me an hour if I want to say anything.
I think we all feel that way.
You got 30 seconds.
I get a day's worth of things to say. Yes.
I would end again, thank you for the opportunity. Stay safe and think smart using technology, because this is a part of the progress of our sector. And I believe that our contribution is very valuable for all the sectors. So I guess that the sector will take that into account and will invest in technologies like ours.
Beautiful. Elle, how about yourself? Some final thoughts?
I'm going to pass it to Yanni. I'm still thinking about how to take my day's worth of comments into one.
All right, Yanni, you got no one to push these comments off on, so you got to take it away.
I have something after it, but go for it.
I know I'm just excited to be here with Elle and Faustino. We don't travel with cash, so we see the fact that the rooms get cleaned and we need to tip people. So I think the solution that they have is just amazing. I look forward to using it. And Faustino, we all know the small percentage of hotels that were enabled with wireless door locks. There's still a challenge. There's an investment that's there, but putting the right solutions out there, that wave is coming. And congratulations on what you've done. And you know, ourselves, I'd love to partner up with both Elle and Faustino and create something even more powerful out there that's an integrated solution. So if they're interested, let's talk.
Beautiful.
Where's my hand raised here? Here you go.
Elle.
Here you go.
Like this. We're on video.
Love this. Just discovered this, by the way. So yeah, I just want to say I completely, let me lower my hand. Can I lower my hand here? Yeah, I just want to echo what Yanni said and Faustino too. I am a first-time founder, and I come from an experience or background that is not financial or hospitality, apart from my mother. And it just being with you guys has changed my experience. Like next time I'm going to go to a hotel, I'm gonna imagine, you know, Yanni's product was here. Was it here? And the key, which I always take for granted, just part of that. But to hear Faustino talk about his technology and how long he's been working at this, it just fills me with such appreciation, I think, for being in this space and to be recognized as a disruptor. Mm-hmm. So thank you both. And I'm going over to the virtual room and handshaking Faustino and Yanni and requesting a meeting. So, and on that note, thank you for Innofact for a great.
My pleasure. Now these folks
thank you, Rob. Thank you, Glenn.
Yeah, my pleasure. Now, these folks over here, they're not just disruptive, they're truly disruptive award winners and stuff. And they, so be sure to check out with all that they do. Go schedule those meetings, go talk to them, get a little one-on-one time with each of them. You will not regret it. All right, everybody, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. Again, I'm Glenn Hausman. It'd be awesome if you would go ahead and subscribe to our stuff. Text the word hotel to 66866. We do 4 no vacancy lives every single week. We do a Friday night happy hour show, 5 p.m. East Coast time. I do other reports throughout the week, video reports and stuff like that. We're going to the opening of Resorts World in Las Vegas in a couple of weeks, so you won't want to miss those shows. The whole week of shows in Vegas. Going to be all over the country. I'm going to Mexico this summer, doing great shows from there. Going to Atlantic City this summer. Great shows from there. All sorts of actionable insights that you can use to improve your businesses. Guys, thank you so much for being here. You 3 were all incredibly awesome. And thanks for watching all of us. The audience out there was absolutely terrific. Now go make those appointments, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Have a great afternoon.
Thank you.
Evening or morning, wherever you are in the world. See ya.
Take care.
Thank you both. Thank you all.
Bye-bye.